News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. Several possible scams in the news you need to know about. Also, can you figure out how much of a house you can afford without seeing a lender? Well, we hope to answer that question. And deadly storm mistakes that could put your life in danger this fall and winter. We'll have those items and what to do about them. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team at RE/MAX Properties East. I hope you're having a good Sunday morning and you're along for the ride. For the next half hour, we'll try to answer your real estate questions, and with us to help answer those questions, we've got Chuck Crosby, who is the head guy over at the Crosby Law Offices. They do real estate closings and do a good job at that. Wills, living wills, health care, surrogate help, powers of attorney, specific powers of attorney, and the list goes on. You can reach Chuck anytime, 499-6360. Also, here, Randy Rocky. He's one of the head guys over at Swan Financial. They shop the loan, get you the best rates, and that's what's important in this environment. You want to give Randy a call at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to be able to help you. There's no home too big, no home too small. I work in Louisville, southern Indiana, surrounding counties. You can reach me anytime on my cell phone for a free, no obligation analysis, and we'll talk, or I'll come out and visit with you. You can reach me at 502-376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or you can go to bobsellslouisville.com. Click on the page there, and you can click in your information and send it to me. And then if you want a free analysis of what your home is worth, free, no obligation, go to WeSellLouisville.com. Click on the top of the page. All right. Let's start with Chuck Crosby at the Crosby Law Offices. Now, Chuck, I gave out some advice this week. I want to see if it matches what you would give. I received a call from a woman who we'll call Emma, and I'm going to shorten this down. Basically, Emma thinks she's a victim of a scam. She sold her house to an investment company through a realtor that's local here in Louisville with the understanding that they would help her buy another home in Kentucky. She, in fact, pointed them at the home she wanted to buy. She sold her home to this company. She went to purchase the new home. She was told she didn't have to be at the closing. That's a red flag. She was later told she would have to rent the new home for a couple of years and then purchase it. Not sure why, but this is what she was telling me. And the home itself, when she arrived, had no heat, no air, no insulation, no running water, and that was just the start of the problem, she says. So she feels she's been taken and scammed, and she's in some sort of rental contract she can't get out of, and she can't get help. Chuck, what are your thoughts?
Well, if what you say is there's no water, no heating, no hot water, no heat during the cold months, then she can get out of that deal. There's no doubt about that. It sounds like there's a few pieces missing.
Yeah.
Typically, when I see something like this, it's because, owner financing. Oh, hey, we'll sell you this house and do owner financing. But what they mean is a lease option or some such thing where you give them a chunk of change up front, and then you have the right to purchase it within a couple of years. Now, typically, and I'm not saying it always happens this way, but when I see it, it's because somebody doesn't have the ability to get a regular mortgage. Okay.
Yeah.
Credit's too low or something like that. Or perhaps they're from another country, they just moved in. I saw a lot of those some years back where they're just taken advantage of. Oh, hey, we'll buy the house in our name and then we'll sell it to you, owner financing. And like I said, a lease option. Difference between owner financing and a lease option is that a lease option is a lease. You're renting the property. You have the right to buy it at a certain price at a certain time. And you usually give them a big chunk of change up front that is non-refundable. Owner financing in reality would be like a vendor's lien or, the owner selling it to you and putting a mortgage on the property. The difference is title changing hands. Okay. One, it's just renting. You can be evicted 45 days-ish. The other, you would have to have court action to take you out of the property, like a foreclosure.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's usually that case. The upshot is don't do any of this without letting a lawyer look at the paperwork to tell you what's going on. That's the upshot. These things are just so rampant out there. Everybody's trying to come up with a a nifty way of financing because, fill in the blank, whatever crisis, whatever, is going on.
Yeah.
And it's, nah,
What I
just
did was
see an attorney.
when I heard that she mentioned there was a realtor involved, I went and looked up the realtor, and she says she's gone to the realtor, but he hasn't helped her. At which point I said, I think your next step is to talk to the broker.
Always, because when you're dealing with an agent, you're not dealing with that person. You're dealing with the broker via the agent. The broker is the one who's, in charge. So that's always the best idea. If your realtor's not doing anything for you, go to the broker. The downside with this situation is I don't know that the broker can help. A lot of realtors get pulled into this, like with flippers or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, we're doing this novel way of selling property. And the realtor shows everybody the property, does their job, whatever. They aren't in charge of putting the paperwork together at the end. And, like I said, I have seen realtors get pulled in with, oh, yeah, we're doing owner financing, not realizing that, no, it's a lease option.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And that's.
And then maybe the real estate commission gets involved. Is that another step for
No,
her?
I don't think they really have any control unless it's the realtor that's doing this.
Got it.
The realtor's just putting people together.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. Now, the realtor may have more control, may have more interest in whatever company's involved, but realtors put people together. They don't create the deal. For instance, I know you're a full-service realtor. You've been in the business forever. Not every realtor is like you. Okay. You take your test, you get your license, etc. Doesn't mean that they're going to handhold you through the mortgage process, etc., and make sure you're getting a good deal. A lot of them just put people together.
Yeah. For the record, I'm doing this 21 years, and I can't believe it went by
Yeah,
so
I know.
quickly. Yeah, it's crazy.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I'm coming up on 33 years of being an attorney, and it's
Wow.
like, wait a minute, I'm still 18. How did that happen?
Yeah. All right. A reminder, if you want to see a rebroadcast of today's show, easy, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com, LouisvilleAnswers.com. It's a redirect to our YouTube channel where this show and others reside. Again, LouisvilleAnswers.com. And if you'd like to see what both buyers and sellers are saying about us, because we have a team of 10 plus agents, plus myself, we have a lot of reviews, you can go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com and read our reviews. Over to Randy Rocky at Swan Financial. So, Randy, Evelyn sent us an email this week asking about how much money she can afford to borrow when buying her first home. So, Randy, with me, let's review and have you look at a potential buyer dollar amount so they can go forward and look at homes. And I'll give you the category. You'll understand how this works. And you can give me fill in the information. All right. So first of all, we want to know how you calculate affordability. So what income is actually considered, for example, if Evelyn works a second part-time job, is that considered income?
If she's worked more than 2 years, if it's under 2 years, we cannot consider any part-time income.
And for her normal paycheck that she's working, you take gross or is it net?
It is gross income.
Okay. And before you get to taxes. So that's good. So that gives you a basis for how much she makes. So then explain to Evelyn what is debt to income ratio.
Yeah. So let's say that she makes $5,000 a month gross income and she has a car payment of $500, then she gets a mortgage with taxes, insurance, and everything of $2,000. That equals $2,500. She makes $5,000. That's 50% debt to income ratio.
And so what is the norm for a debt to income ratio if you're doing the calculations?
FHA, we can do up to 57%. Conventional, usually somewhere around 47% debt to income.
Okay, and that's why you might be going to the FHA, which includes PMI at that
Yes,
point.
and so does conventional if it's under 20%. But FHA rates right now are a lot better than conventional. So sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. Depends on credit score. Credit score is more tolerable on an FHA loan than conventional. Anything under 680 on a conventional would be very difficult to make the numbers work.
Got it.
Are you able to say what credit score you
Sure.
could do?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
go down to a no credit score and really 550, Chuck. If they have a 550 credit score, I can do 10% down.
You see, that ties into what we were talking about before. The people that are getting into these type deals with the lease option and the creative financing, they think they can't get a loan because
That's
their
right.
credit is down in that neck of the woods. So,
Right, and they
I mean, that
can.
would solve the problem right there.
Oh, exactly. And I can't tell you, it's funny you mention that because there's so many people that call me, go, and they do several a year and say, hey, I know I can't qualify now, but I think I'm finally going to just get my credit pulled. And I pull them and I go, you're qualified. Now, not always, but a lot of times that's the case, which is your point, Chuck. It absolutely, people just need to go to a professional and let them help you, or they can help you with, hey, you need to pay your credit card down a little bit and get your score will go up. There's just all kinds of different ways to work it.
And interestingly enough, yesterday I got a call and I actually sent this guy to one of our agents. He wants to buy a home, but his credit score, right. We were talking about it before we went on the air. His credit score was 620. And I said, I think you're good. I said, I'm not a loan officer, but we're going to get you the help that you're going to need. And that's how that happened.
Follow up with that, Bob.
Yeah.
He makes $10,000 gross income a month and he has $200 in debt a month.
Yeah.
So
he's great.
His debt to income, I could get him a $500,000 house.
Good. That's good. He's a good guy. So I'm glad. And again, if you want to call me, folks, if you got questions, I mean, we got a team here, obviously. You can reach me at 376-5483. All right. We're going to try one more question before we go to the break for Chuck Crosby, some scam alerts. Okay. So this one came in from Brinks Home Security. They called me, Chuck. They said, hey, I can upgrade your security panel at your home for next to nothing. Now, how did I know this was a scam, folks? I don't have Brinks Home Security. So this guy's out there fishing, looking for, and I said, you really must have thought I was born yesterday. And so, Chuck, just if you would, in a minute, just review the scam guidelines. What should everyone know about identifying a scam?
Well, a lot of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If they're calling you and they're asking for private information, you get an email that's from a generic website that says, hey, click here, stuff like that. You don't do that. Your mortgage company is not going to call you on the phone and ask you for your, personal identifying information. That's just a given. My personal thing, I'm getting these scam calls a lot here lately where they'll call up and I always say, if it comes on my cell phone, I always say, yellow, and or I'll say, this is Chuck. Either one, and neither one sounds like hello, so the computer doesn't kick in. But then the next thing I hit, I'm just silent from that. And then the next thing you hear is, a large call room with phones ringing and people talking and buzzing in the back.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, come on, and then just hang up.
So your premise is if you say hello, you're triggering.
The computer somehow clicks onto it. Charles. It's like, no.
Oh, so it's an automated AI experience.
And then they put you to a real person because they're calling to see if this is a real phone number, is my thought. But, somebody calls up, asks for your personal information, let's hang up on them. Don't even talk any further.
And if you're a senior, call your kids, your adult kids,
absolutely.
obviously.
Yeah. And they sound real. I swear to God, I had a lady call me up and she was so sincere about wanting to help me guide my way through this problem with my bank account. And it's like, I don't even have an account with this bank. But she was so sincere that for a minute, well, maybe, do I have an account with this bank?
Even had you fooled.
Yeah, no. I think what's happening is you have the scammers using people who don't know that it's a scam. And that's how you get that air of sincerity.
All right. Well, we need to keep this out there. We need to keep the word out. So we remind everybody there are so many scams out there. Right, we're going to take a break. A quick reminder, if you want to see what sellers are saying about us, our Sokoler team, when we're at the closing table, I interview a lot of folks. You can reach, actually go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. It's easy enough. LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. And when we come back, deadly storm mistakes that could put your life and your family in danger this fall and this winter. So continuing with us after the break, Randy Rocky, who is one of the head guys at Swan Financial. They shop the loan to get you the best rate. You can reach Randy at 6450736. Also, Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices. They do real estate closings and wills and a lot of other things. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. And if you're thinking of selling your home, I'd love to be able to help you. Free, no obligation. Call me, 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com and fill out the information. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, Louisville Real Estate Show. Coming up in just a moment, deadly storm mistakes that could put your life and your family in danger this fall and winter. Continuing with us, Chuck Crosby. He is the head guy at the Crosby Law Offices, a great attorney, does real estate closings, wills, living wills, foreclosure defense, commissioner sales. The list goes on. Chuck is a plethora of information, and he is willing to help anybody who needs it. He says if he doesn't know what you need or a person who can do it for you, he's got him at his fingertips to give you the number to give a quick call. That's Chuck Crosby at 499-6360. Also continuing with us, Randy Rocky. He is one of the head guys, Swan Financial, where they shop the loans to get you the very best rate. You can reach Randy at 6450736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, no home too big, no home too small. I work in Louisville, Southern Indiana, and surrounding areas for a free, no obligation discussion of what the path looks like. Call me 376-5483 or 376-LIVE, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. All right. Weather is turning, it's about to turn. Let's face it, we're here now in October. So we need to be ready, and we don't want to ignore really important things, and this is just kind of a primer. So we don't want to ignore weather warnings. I don't know about you, but I listen to 840 WHAS. I watch TV news. I look for information about upcoming storms. This goes without saying, never drive into flooded roads. The old adage, turn around, don't drown. Never stand near windows or glass doors during a storm. And thanks to my wife, LaDonna, never take a bath or a shower during a storm. We actually vetted that a couple of weeks ago with Brad Lawler, who's our home team inspector, and I looked it up. And yeah, a lightning strike can penetrate the house through the plumbing and use water as a conductor to get to you. So during lightning, definitely don't take a bath or a shower. Don't use electrical appliances during lightning because it could come through. A lightning strike could come through those. Staying in a mobile home really is a weak structure. That is not the place to be during a storm. Also, venturing outside too soon, wait if the storm passes just to make sure that there's nothing else coming behind it. And if you don't have an emergency plan and emergency supplies in your house, think about this weekend, maybe today. Go out and put some supplies, bottled water, canned goods, things that you can open up easily in the event power goes out and you're going to be able to survive in your home. Not that it's going to happen, but for goodness sakes, we really want to make sure that you're safe. All right, let's go back to our email questions. Bob at WeSellLouisville.com is the email address to send me a question. This one is for Chuck. No, actually, this is for Randy Rocky. Sophia wrote in this email and poses an interesting question. Is PMI worth it, Randy? We touched on this last segment. She says she's noticed friends of hers putting down 5 or 10%. She has more than that to put down, 10% on a $300,000 house. But that would mean she'd have to pay PMI with only 10%. She says, I can afford to put down 20 or 25%. So she's wondering, does she leave the money in her savings account, or does she use it to buy a home and not pay PMI? What are your suggestions?
No, you definitely you don't put 10% down. Yes, you would put 20% down because PMI is basically Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA are saying, okay, there's more risk involved because we have the customer has less skin in the game, and we are going to charge private mortgage insurance until they have 20% loan to value. So that means their house, if it's a $100,000 house, they have to have a loan of $80,000 or less. Now on FHA, it still stays in effect for 9 years, but But in her situation, yes, she would want to avoid PMI insurance because, again, it doesn't go towards the principal of her loan. It's just an insurance for Fannie, Freddie, and FHA if in case somebody gets foreclosed on is basically what that is set up for.
Okay, so go for the 20%. It sounds like that's
Yes,
a smart
yes.
move.
Hmm.
Back over to Chuck Crosby of the Crosby Law Offices. Oliver recently read about a bill introduced in both houses of Congress to ban hedge funds from buying and owning single-family homes. The bill would require hedge funds to sell off the single-family homes that they own within 10 years and then prohibit them from owning them again. Now, Chuck, I sent you some information on this to get ready for this question. So really what it comes down to is this a good thing, and what will it do in the event that this actually goes through? By the way, it's sitting nowhere at this point. And
yeah, it's dead in the water. And honestly, this kind of stuff happens all the time. It's performative, I think, in nature, and how much of legislating has become performance. Something to look, he's looking out for us. Anyhow, the fact of the matter is, I don't think it would pass muster with the courts, even if it were passed, which it doesn't look like it will be, mainly because hedge funds. It's going to be a corporation. So whether you call it a hedge fund or a rubber plant, it's still a corporation, and a corporation is legally an entity. It's a person with Citizens United. Corporations have been given, freedom of speech. There's all kinds of things that make a corporation like a person. With that said, under what circumstances do you think a bill would pass muster if I said, Bob, every house you own, you've got to sell within the next 10 years, and you can't buy any new ones?
yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it going anywhere. What would it do? I think the intent of the bill is to prevent large amounts of houses being held by uncaring landlords. Any kind of legislation that's trying to solve that problem. If you just look at it as corporations and individual, I'm an individual. I can't have 100 properties. You tell me that that's not a violation of a variety of constitutional rights.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, even if it were to pass, and even if ultimately the courts were to say it was okay, you're looking at so far down the road. The average lawsuit is 4 years at least. Mm. Okay. And honestly, I don't see that one going anywhere.
Yeah. And I would tell you, for all homeowners who own homes, I mean, it would be a windfall for buyers who might be able to get homes coming on the market. And the problem is there would be a flood of homes on the market, which would eventually reduce the price of homes. So as a homeowner, you might be against something like this happening because now you devalue your home because there are so many homes that are now.
Well, and it's not just that. I mean, why would, you've got a corporation or a hedge funds. I mean, saying it's a hedge fund is it would be corporations, not just hedge funds. And anyhow, you're just using the nasty word to make it sound more, amenable. The fact of the matter is, if you tell someone they've got to sell all this property and you're going to flood the market, well, yeah, but what about at the other end of it? These guys are investing money. They're investing other people's money in housing. So how is that really all that different? The buying and selling isn't the big issue. Or the thing they're trying to attack. It's the uncaring, corporate landlord who lives in New York but is renting property in Louisville. And there's laws to deal with that. I personally, this last summer, was involved in one where the landlord was a hedge fund up in New York. And we took him to task. We not only got what we wanted, we got a little extra, and we got an apology, which was nice.
Good. All right, we move on. I think this is the last question going out to Randy Rocky at Swan Financial. So, Randy, Bill wants to know something about down payment requirements. He says in this email he wants to buy a $250,000 home. This will be his first home, and he's wondering how much does he actually need to have in his bank account to be able to afford the home? And I think there are variables in this, right?
Yeah, yes, there is. I mean, it's little as zero money down. But if you're a first-time home buyer, and you make less than in Louisville, less than $80,000, I can do a 1% down with a 2% grant. We have a 2% grant. So on a $200,000 house, we give you $4,000, and then you put 1% down, which is $2,000. So NMLS number 26362. But so what you just have to look at all, but you could do as little as zero all the way to whatever you would like, 20% or more.
Good. So there's a wide range, as we would say, a wide swath of availability. I guess the bottom line is, Bill, you don't necessarily need a whole bunch of money to be able to buy your first home. My thanks to Chuck Crosby. He's the head guy at the Crosby Law Offices, where they do closings and a great job of real estate closings, wills, living wills, powers of attorney, specific powers of attorney, durable powers of attorney, as you get the feeling that he does a lot of stuff. You can reach Chuck, 499-6360. Also, Randy Rocky comes to us via Swan Financial, where they shop the loan, they get you the best price and the best rates. You want to call Randy at 6450736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I would love to help you. No home too big, no home too small, and I work in Louisville, southern Indiana, surrounding counties. You can reach me anytime for a free, no-obligation discussion at 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE, or go to bobsellslouisville.com and fill out the information. And for a free, no-obligation estimate of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com and click on the top of the page. That's it. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.